So we've laid out a lot of different threads here leading up to your new project, Imaginos Volume 3,
Mhm.
whose tendrils I can see kind of go all the way back to the beginning of the band with the influence of Sandy Pearlman.
Mhm.
This project's obviously part of a trilogy, starting with the story of Imaginos.
Mhm.
Please walk us through kind of the creation of that first volume. I mean, when did you first have the idea for an album based around this mythical story? We touched upon it earlier. Did you guys have to sell, I mean, anybody on it, or was everybody on board from the beginning? How did all that work?
It was, I mean, Sandy's idea, I'd say around, it'd have to be like 1975, when, right before Reaper, when Sandy said, it'd be great to put all these Imaginos songs together on one record. So Imaginos, the song Imaginos, I had written for Agents of Fortune. And Sandy said, hold it back. Don't put this on here. I thought it was going to be the second single or something, but he's like, no, we got to put all these Imaginos songs together. Now we'd already recorded Astronomy, which was supposed to be an Imaginos. So Astronomy has a character named Desdenova. And Desdenova is basically the female version of Imaginos. So, and the song Blue Oyster Cult already has Imaginos in it, as a character. So there was that. And then there was all these other songs that we had written, and the one you warned me of with Imaginos in it. And, and songs like Girl That Loved Me Blind or Siege and Investiture, all of those were supposed to be part of this whole thing. So he said, let's save it and have the band do a whole Imaginos record. So that was basically by the time we did Cultosaurus Erectus, and Joe had written In the Presence of Another World, he said, well, that's another Imaginos song, so we should make this album that you're making with Martin Birch should be an Imaginos record. And they're like, no way. And I'm like, well, it would work, I mean, it's a little obscure and it would definitely get our fans back. And they're like, no, we got to get our writing credit. So, and we don't want to have a song that Sandy writes everything, So, so we didn't do it. And so when I was asked to leave the group, I was like, I don't know, and Sandy was not in favor of that. I mean, at that time, he was still thinking, we're going to get to a point where they're going to need material and will agree to this plan to record the whole Imaginos thing. I said, okay, and of course I was still writing. I was writing with Patti Smith and Helen Wheels and David Roeder, and I was still writing with a lot of other people. So I always had stuff, whether it was with Sandy or somebody else. So it didn't matter much to me. I just wanted to make the best record. But when I was asked to leave the group, Sandy said, don't worry. I'm talking to Columbia about getting you a solo record deal where you're going to do the whole Imaginos thing. I said, if you're willing. And I said, I am willing. I'm ready and willing. We've been talking about this for years. Let's do it. So he did get the deal, and they agreed to put it out as my solo record. And I assembled a group of musicians, basically everybody that I had always wanted to play with. And then, and so by 1985, the record was almost done. We'd really gotten everything all together, and we were working at a studio way out on Long Island, Port Jefferson, called Boogie Hotel, that was owned by Foghat. And so,
Which is ironic because they recorded a lot of their stuff in Bearsville.
yeah, I know. It was weird, but anyway, so by then, everybody, when I got signed, Bruce Lundvall was the head of Columbia. By 1985, Bruce was gone. Tony Mottola was there, and he brought all his own people. And so Tony didn't come out there, but all these other people from the record company who had been installed by Tony, all his buddies, came out, and you know, there was a lawyer, there's an accountant, there was nobody, not really a musician there, but they listened to it and they're like, well, where's the single? I'm like, single? This is a whole piece. You can't, you know, I mean, it's, I just didn't, I was like, did you guys not hear the demos? They're like, no, we never heard it. I'm like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. And so then it was trying to make what I had more commercial, which, you know, was kind of hard. And I said to Sandy, well, maybe we need to hire Desmond Child or somebody to take one of these songs and turn it into a, you know, pop song or something. And Sandy's like, no, that's worse. You know, it would just destroy our reputation or something. I don't know. So he was against that. So about a year later, or 2 years later, 1987, because the thing had stalled. You know, and I had, you know, I was working with my brother-in-law and his refrigeration company. You know, it's like, okay, I can do anything, I guess, but, you know, I really would rather be playing music, you know. So, and then from there, I went to driving a yellow cab. And I did that for about a year. Yeah, and then Sandy, while I was driving the cab, Sandy called me up one day and said, listen, I got a great idea. I know how we can get it out and how the company is going to support it. I said, okay. He goes, oh, I got another call. I'll call you right back. Okay, I didn't hear from him for another 20 years. But I did hear from the management of the, you know, Steve Shank, you know, who was his assistant at the time, called me and said, yeah, so they're going to put it out as a Blue Oyster Cult record. I'm like, what? Do I have any say in this? And he goes, yes. You know, first of all, we need the tapes. You have the tapes. You know, can you bring them? I said, well, I'll bring them. But, you know, I mean, if they want to put it out, you know, I don't want them to put it out without me. I have to be in the band.
I mean, it was kind of your thing.
Yeah, it's my thing. And if they want to put it out as, you know, if they finally want to do what Sandy wanted to do, then I'm, you know, that's fine, as long as I'm not, you know, I was already getting pushed out, you know, because he was in San Francisco. So I was like, I want to have, you know, first of all, I want to make sure that I get the credits right, because, you know, we had all these people playing on it, and, you know, I promised them that they would get credit, you know. I mean, some of them were paid, some were not, but, you know, they all need to get credit. And so they said, oh, yeah, don't worry, you'll have final approval of everything, and you'll have approval of the sequencing and the mixing, and, you know, but I just need you to agree to this. I said, okay, I agree, you know, as long as I'm part of the band. They said,
and did it ultimately work out that way?
No. I agreed. I brought the tapes over, and that was it. I didn't hear another thing until the record was out.